the Vector BC15BV Smart Battery Charger. We'll talk about the features and how it works when we get back. I'm Tim Johnson. You're watching Shop Tool Reviews. Vector reached out to us and asked if we'd be willing to try out one of their products and give our honest feedback. We said, sure, send it on over. They sent us the 15 amp smart charger. Now, in addition to being a smart charger, this also will recondition your battery. It will also check your alternator, as well as give you a 50 amp boost. So if your car's slow starting or won't quite get over that hump, that 50 amp will definitely help get that turning where it needs to be and fire it up. Now, if your battery's completely dead, 50 amps is probably not going to turn over your engine, especially if it's a V6 or V8 or a diesel, obviously. We used this in a couple of ways trying it out. First on the workbench, where we went through a couple of different tests on a battery, as well as went through a bunch of the features, and then we also actually put it on a vehicle and went through some of the processes there as well, including the alternator check, as well as the 50 amp booster, if you will. Will you let me break in here for just 1 second? If you don't mind, hit that like and subscribe button if you like this video. If you don't, let us know in the comments why you didn't like it, and if you do like it, let us know in the comments as well. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments. Back to the video. So let's put the Vector 15 amp battery charger to work, but let's talk about some of the features before we get started. So it's not only a 15 amp charger, but it's also got the 50 amp engine start mode. So I'm sure there's a capacitor in there that's providing that extra bump, because obviously you're not going to be able to pull that from a 15 or 20 amp circuit from an outlet. But before we get into that, I want to talk about something that's kind of a pet peeve to tools for me. Obviously not cordless tools, but when you're dealing with corded tools like a battery charger, and that is cord management. And Vector does a phenomenal job with this. As you can see, so this is how you take it out of the package, and you can see there's not a cord dangling, there's nothing extra, and everything's contained. And not only that, once you take it out and use it, it's the same way. So it's not like it's just wrapped up and zip tied, but you can see the electrical cord plugs away here into this little cubby hole, and then the actual jumper cables actually wrap around the tail end here and then clamp onto the sides. So they've just thought about cord management. I know that's probably seems pretty geeky to a lot of people, but when you deal with power tools all the time, you deal with cords, some things you just wonder, why wasn't cord management in the equation? So Vector, great job on at least thinking that out and doing that to where all the cords are tucked away. So when you get done, wrap it up, tuck the cord in here. You've got nothing dangling here, nothing that's going to get in the way. Put that away in your cabinet or in a drawer or in the toolbox or whatever, and you're good to go. Okay, so we got that out of the way. Let's take this battery here and see how well this Vector charger charges it. Now, all seriousness, this is a brand new battery. I just pulled the tabs off of it. Now, I say it's brand new, but it was December of 2019 when we purchased this. It's been sitting on the shop floor ever since, and so I'm expecting it not to be fully charged. I'm expecting it to be 75%. So I would say 50 to 75% 50 to 75% charge rate. So just full disclosure, this is a brand new battery, but again, it's never been touched for the 8 months that we've owned it now. So obviously sitting around, it's probably discharged a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take off our leads here. So easy just to unclamp those leads. And we'll unwrap this all the way. And then also they have feet here that you can either lay this flat. So this can lay flat on the ground, or if you've got it on a flat surface like this, you can angle it up where you've got a better, eye level of the actual readout. So again, just a little feature there, nothing wrong with that. But also the feet tuck away nicely if you don't want that or don't need that. Who cares? But anyway, nice feature there. As far as the leads go, they're decent. Got nice copper claws on them. Obviously, they're not too stout, but again, we're dealing with a consumer level battery charger. They meet up nice. Also, I like to see basically the opposite in the teeth there. They don't just meet point to point, so they bite into one another. So I like to see that as well. I'm a little thought on that. So You've got your side claws there as well as the side smooth jaws as well. So you've got several different angles of attack with those. So I like that. Nice strong spring on there as well. Again, stamped steel. I wouldn't have expected anything different. Not sure what gauge wire that is, but hey, it does the job, I think. And again, we're talking about a consumer level charger here. So let's go ahead and clamp these on. So I've got my positive, clamp that on, and now we'll go ahead and we'll pull our cord out. We'll pull our cord out of here, and that seems to be, yeah, about a 6-footer. So about a 6-foot cord. And so we'll plug it in here, and we'll see what happens. We'll see how intuitive this is. So you can see it shows we've got our leads here. I think if we didn't have our leads connected, it would show us some type of signal here. In fact, let's try this. I will unplug a lead. There you go. So you see if I unplug a lead, it's telling me, hey, you're not connected. Plug that back in, and we're good to go. Now it's waiting on me to give it a selection. If I were in the car and we were trying to get this thing started, maybe it was in a dead situation or partial dead situation, I could hit the engine start. It would give us that boost. I think it goes into a countdown actually. We'll cover that here in just a moment. Also, I could do alternator check or battery voltage. Let me click that. Okay, so it's telling me it's got 12.1 volts. So this thing's not too dead. And then battery recondition, that's actually going to go into a cycle where it kind of cycles through conditioning that battery. But let's go ahead. I'm going to push the charge button here. So let's assume we walked up, we put our leads on the battery, came up, we hit the charge button, and right away this thing's going into charge, and it's going to give us a readout here in a second. Wow, it's showing so less than 50% of a charge. So we're a lot lower than what I thought it was. So even for a brand new battery, sitting around for a few months, you can see how low, I don't know, that's, 30, 40%. I'm sure this is not dead on, but you see it's basically pumping out 16.4 amps here, which for a 15 amp charger, that's interesting. I'm assuming that's going to be kind of short term, that it's going to be able to provide that kind of amperage. I'm assuming it's not actually going to be drawing that for sustainable time. But anyway, it's a smart charger, so the closer it gets to 100%, the more the amperage you're going to see back off and go into a lower stage, if you will, as it reaches that peak and it knows that it's getting close to maximum 100%. And then when it reaches 100%, it'll go into kind of a cycle mode where it's just kind of trickle charging that battery and keeping it sustained, if you will. So let's try this on the car here. We'll go ahead and pull our cord out here. We'll plug that in. Do our cables, that's enough. We'll try this on car here. Actually, we want to hook the positive up, and then we want to hook to a chassis ground. So now it shows us that we're connected. Now what we want to do here is I'm going to first just check the battery voltage. So 12.4 volts, pretty good. And then let's go into the engine start mode. So it's going to go into a countdown, and then you'll see the meter here showing us the battery charge. And now what it's doing, I'm assuming, is charging that internal capacitor, where it's going to help that 50 amp boost of starting. Now I definitely don't see 50 amps is not going to start your vehicle if this battery is stone dead, but if it's at the point where it's having a little trouble turning over, that 50 amps could definitely help get you over that edge, if you will, to actually spin that motor over and get it fired up. So definitely a helper. It's not going to handle a full start if this is completely dead. So once that countdown gets down, we'll spin it over and see what happens. One more. Okay, so now it's telling me to start the engine. And it also says that once you do this, you should wait, I think 3 to 5 minutes before trying the start mode once again. So we'll go ahead and end that. We'll go ahead and unplug our charger here, and that'll reset it. There we go. We'll go ahead and plug this back in, and now what we want to do, let's plug in our charger, and let's do an alternator check. Okay, so it shows again we've got the leads hooked up, so we're good there. And now let's go into alternator check. And you see we have this flashing right here that says check, and so I'm going to go ahead and crank this up. And it's stating right here that we're good. So it's in a good range of voltage, and it's showing the alternator's charging. Okay, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna unhook the alternator wire, and we're gonna try that alternator check one more time. Okay, I've got the alternator unhooked. I'm gonna go back into alternator check, and I'm gonna crank it up and see what we have. Now it's giving me the alt sign, so that's telling me that we got a problem with the voltage output on the alternator. It's definitely not showing that it's charging enough, and so now we've got an issue. Let me plug that wire in and we'll see what happens. And now I've got the wire in. Now we'll go back in alternator check. So it's checking alternator. And we're good. So it definitely does a good job of being able to tell whether it's in that normal operating range of, I don't know what it is, but I would assume somewhere in that, 12 to 14 volt range of where it needs to be putting out. So pretty cool little feature there on a battery charger. Let's also check the battery recondition. And what this is going to do, it's actually going to condition your battery, especially if a battery doesn't want to take a charge. That battery recondition does a great job of basically charging up the battery, draining it back down, charging up the battery, draining it back down, and doing that continuously and conditioning that battery so that it will take a charge. So this could help some batteries if it won't take a charge on a regular charger. This charger may help it to do that and get that reconditioned into a better status. I'm gonna go ahead and unplug this, and we'll go wrap this up. So here's the deal. You can buy the Vector products now at Home Depot. You can buy it at homedepot.com. And this battery charger is going to run you about 60 bucks. I think it's $59.97 or $59.95. That includes a 1-year warranty as well. Now we kind of geeked out at the cord management on this, and we really like that. The fact that you can see there's no cords dangling anywhere. I don't have to wrap it up and put a Velcro strap on it or put a bread tie on it or anything. It's all contained. Again, that's a big thing to me. Now I can just put this on a shelf. I can put it in a cabinet somewhere or put it in a drawer, and I don't have to worry about any cords getting caught up in anything. Also, the feet here, it's nice to be able to put it on an angle or to lay it flat. So there's some cool features on this outside of just the performance of being a battery charger. Also, the fact that it was able to charge a battery kind of on its own. So it is a smart charger. It's not just going to pump out 15 amps and burn up your battery. As that battery starts charging and as it continues to charge, it'll back down and be able to kind of go in almost into a condition mode and trickle charge that battery there at the end so it's not overcharging it. Also, the reconditioning, a lot of times that'll bring a battery back to life. Now, it's not going to do the impossible, but some of these batteries where it gets below 5 volts or so, some of these chargers just don't want to charge them. This will actually go into that conditioning step and actually bring some of those back to life. So that may help you. Also, the alternator check, that brings a lot of question out of whether or not the alternator is actually putting out the right amount of charge or not. Again, it's not going to replace your diagnostic equipment by any means, but it's a nice little charger. Now, I would definitely say this is for that homeowner or DIYer to have, or a small shop that just needs a battery charger. It's not going to be one that you put up to a dead battery and jump it off. That's not what it's going to do. But for the homeowner, and again for that auxiliary shop unit. I think it's a great unit for that. So be sure to check out the Vector products at Home Depot and HomeDepot.com. Also keep track of us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you don't mind, hit that like and subscribe button if you like this video. And also that little bell notification, that's going to let you know when new videos are available. Hey, go out there and do something nice for someone and have a great day.